I got a question for you because I think a lot of, people struggle with the idea of this covenant relationship that God establishes. The first covenant relationship he establishes is with Noah.
Mhm.
He'll go on to establish a covenantal relationship with Abraham and David. Now, does the covenant relationship that God established with Abraham make the covenant he established with Noah null and void? Yes or no?
Such a good question, and I'll tell you, the Bible actually is aware that we're going to ask that question. How do I know? Because the Bible actually uses two different words for how a covenant is made. There's a Hebrew word that is kum, which means, in lahakim, to establish a relationship, and then there's karat, like lahachrit brit, which means to. It also in English we would translate to establish, but what it really means is to
Like to forge.
Yeah, to forge. Right, that's the word I'm looking for. Right, to forge. What's the difference between kum and karat? What's the difference between creating a covenant and forging a covenant? Well, with Noah, think about it. When God makes his covenant with Noah, is it really with Noah? Does Noah respond to it?
There's not even conditions.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't even know if Noah knows about it, right? Because it doesn't say, and God said to Noah, right? We don't even know if Noah knows about it, right? When God says it at first, he's just doing it in response to something Noah does. He doesn't talk to Noah about it, right? With Abraham, God doesn't kum a covenant. God doesn't make a covenant. He karats a covenant. He forges a covenant. Because God actually tells Abraham, I'm making a covenant with you. And Abraham responds and says, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring a sacrifice. I'm going to accept responsibilities. I'm going to make your name great. I'm going to spread your name to the families of the nations. So the answer is, it's not so much that Abraham's covenant supersedes any previous covenant, because as you said, we believe in a God who keeps his promises, right? God doesn't void his promises. But what God's covenant with Abraham does is it introduces an additional set of responsibilities. God says, it's not just that I'm going to bring blessing into your life and you'll be the beneficiary of it. God says, I actually want you to respond to me. I don't want to just monologue at you. This is a dialogue. Like, let's talk. And that's like, when we think about our daily lives, I think it's not, sometimes we think about it as just a series of decisions that we make, as opposed to thinking, what am I being prompted to do? What is God asking of me in this moment? How do I respond? Like, we think of ourselves, like you said, like we think of ourselves as the main characters. Like, we're making decisions and the rest of the world responds to our decisions. But sometimes it's important to say, okay, what am I being called to do in this moment? What am I being asked to do in this moment? And how can I respond to that prompting from God? That's forging a covenant. That's where it's a dialogue. I think about that.